Hello there everybody. Today I've come to Silverley Church in Suffolk to do a little bit of filming, and while I was here I thought I'd answer one of the most frequently asked questions I get, and that is, how do people get into doing ghost hunting and investigating the paranormal? Now I know the title of this video is how to become a ghost hunter. The truth is that you don't really become a ghost hunter. It's not like you train to be a plumber or a vet or something. It's more of a hobby, more of an interest, and more of a personal pursuit rather than any professional format. Now there's so many avenues that you can go down when looking into the subject of the paranormal, and because of that there's not really any right or wrong way of going about it. However, I thought I'd answer the question in a way that, how would I advise my younger self? What advice would I give to myself? And what would I like to have known earlier on? I thought that'd probably be the best way to approach the question. Now the first thing I'll say, which probably sounds a little bit weird, is forget everything that you think you know. Anything you've read about the paranormal, anything you've been told, completely forget it and really try and just start from scratch in your understanding of the subject. And go on your experiences, your personal experiences. Try not to let what other people have told you, and there will be aspects of your investigating that will certainly slot in with other people's ideas and other people's knowledge on the paranormal, but try and form your own opinion. Don't try and rely on what other people have told you. And the reason I say this is because the subject is so diverse and there's so many different avenues. You've got the mediumship side of it, you've got more the spiritual side of it, you've got very, very critical scientific side, and you've got the sort of ghost hunting side of it. And because of all these different branches that lead back to the same thing, it's like if you take people's advice, you're not really, you're going in blind really, and until you start having your own experiences and conducting your own experiments, that's the only time you'll really find where you sit on the scale, on the paranormal scale. Like I say, it's a bit of an odd thing to say really, but that's the first thing I'd have advised myself to do 10 years ago. I was very influenced by TV shows such as Ghost Adventures and some very early YouTube channels that done investigating, and because of that I tried to imitate them. I tried to I tried too hard to be them really, and I certainly didn't waste the first couple of years investigating, but I think if I'd have been told, do your own thing, ignore what everyone else is saying about ghosts and hauntings and just do your own thing, I think I may have progressed a little bit faster, a bit quicker. Now the second thing really is just get out there and do it. You don't need to get bits of equipment and get cameras and all that sort of thing. Best thing you can do is, right from now, go out to a place that is supposedly haunted, or is an old place such as the church ruins I'm at today, and just go there and treat it almost like fishing. You go in there and you're just waiting to see if anything happens. You've got to think a lot of ghost sightings and a lot of experiences have happened at all times of the day and all times of the night, so you don't need to be going out in the freezing cold in the middle of night. Pop out in the day like I've done today and just sit and wait, be nice and calm, and just see if anything unusual happens. That's really what we're doing. We're looking for things that don't quite fit with the norm, and this can range from anything from a full-blown ghost being seen all the way through, to very minor things, and we're trying to explain these events or try and understand them. So putting yourself in an environment could mean that you will have an experience. Now it's worth mentioning, I suppose this is point number 3, is while you are in some of these environments, don't expect too much. And I can't stress this enough. I think the paranormal field at the moment is in a very dire state in terms of basically everything being turned into horror and everything, being over the top, demons and all the rest of it. Because I can tell you now, that sort of stuff doesn't really happen. If it does happen, it's extremely rare. I've been doing this for 10 years now and I've not once encountered something I would class as demonic. I've had certainly negative energies and negative presences, but nothing I would say is a demon. So you see these groups going out and they're in contact with, the devil personified. It doesn't happen like that. Either that or I'm extremely lucky, but I doubt it, But not just in terms of the evil and horror aspect of it. You don't expect to have stuff thrown at you, stuff fly across the room, ghosts appear in front of you, something to whisper in your ear. It can all happen, but it's not very often, The videos I post on this channel, The majority of the time they are when strange events have happened that we've recorded on camera. However, there's a bunch of times we've been out where we've had nothing, more so than not actually. A lot of those I won't post because I don't see the point in people watching through an investigation where nothing really happened. I will post them sometimes because I think it's important, or I feel it's important, that we as a group represent what real investigating is like, and like I say, it's often a miss rather than a hit with places. So really don't expect an awful lot. Just put yourself in an environment and just wait and see if anything unusual happens. You don't even have to entice things out. If again, you think of the amount of paranormal experiences and ghost sightings that people have had over the years, a lot of the time they've been going about their daily business. They've not been trying to interact with anyone or anything. They've just been, going for a walk somewhere, or they've been at work and they've seen something. So don't have to try and call out and try and entice something to come to you. I think a lot of the time, if there is something or someone at a place, they will have a fascination with you just as much as you do with them. And you can't force things to happen. Point number 4, try and take things at face value. Don't try and look into things too much. I think everybody's guilty of it, not just in this field, but in everyday life as well. People do like to look into things an awful lot, whether that be symbolic. I'm not going to sort of go too deeply into that because I don't want to. Each to their own, and everyone's got their own opinions on certain things. But symbolism, just looking too deeply into all aspects of things, really. You've really got to try and drop that when you're investigating, and try and take things at face value. If for example something happens, say I placed something down, I don't know, say I went somewhere and I placed a cross down, and then all of a sudden there was a crash next to me. That's the event that unfolded. A cross was placed down and there was a crash. You could then look into that and you could say, well, that was because it was a ghost of a priest or a vicar, and he was brought forward by the cross. There's no way of knowing that. All you can do is present the fact of cross and noise. That's all you can do really as an investigator, and try and obviously get to the bottom of what caused that, and what was behind it. But you can't really go looking into explanations or anything deeper than what actually happened. I mean, it's great to speculate, and there's some really, really interesting and cool ideas that come forward from speculation, but when it comes to presenting evidence or presenting anything that you've captured, try and take it just as face value. Now on to number 5, I think, either 5 or 6, I'll forget the counting system now. Try and be as critical with everything as possible. If there is an explanation for something, I can guarantee you someone on the internet will find it. So whatever you record or capture, run it by other people, run it by your family, your friends, other paranormal groups, and just get their opinion on it. Because they may have thought of an explanation, a natural, rational explanation for certain things that you haven't thought of. And so because there's no point presenting evidence that has an explanation, because as an investigator, part of your job is to try and get to the bottom of what's, unusual things that are occurring. So yeah, I'd just say, try and be as critical with your evidence and anything you capture as possible. Really try and get to the bottom of explaining things. And I know sometimes it is really, really soul destroying when you've caught something and you think that is fantastic, that's the Holy Grail, and then someone comes along and says, well, actually that's caused by such and such, and it's like, it's so frustrating. I've had it countless times, but you've just got to bite it, and you've just got to go on and say, okay, well, that is an explanation, I've got to go with that. At the same time though, and this does happen a lot as well, is sometimes the rational explanation outweighs the possibility of there being a paranormal explanation. And I think it does happen in, it's not all the time, but there have been instances where things have happened and people have put forward these really, really weird, wild and crazy ideas about how light has bounced off, and a fan turned on was blowing such and such, and then there was a rabbit that ran outside that created the sound. Sometimes, I mean, all of that is possible. It's plausible for an explanation, but then you've got to think, how really unlikely is that? Is there more chance that something we don't yet understand is going on than all of these contributing natural factors, but really, when you think about it, is extremely unlikely for all of this to actually happen? Next thing I'd say really is if you want to get into this for a quick thrill, and you want to do it for a bit of entertainment of an evening, it's the wrong hobby for you, really. I mean, I find this stuff really fun and I enjoy it. I love it. It's my passion. But if you're wanting to do this because you want to get your adrenaline pumping, it will do, believe me. But if you're doing it for that sole purpose, then it's really the wrong hobby for you, because investigations, the majority of the time, are very, very mundane. There's not usually a lot going on at some of these places. Expect to be sitting around for hours on end, walking around sites for hours with nothing happening. You've got to be prepared for that. That's what the reality of this is like. And there's been so many people and so many groups that have come along that have been expecting it to be like it is on the internet, and on TV. They're expecting that, and they get there and it's like, you know, nothing's going on, and they stick at it for about 6 months to a year, and then they just, you know, they lose interest in it. You've really got to have a passion if you want to make this, you know, if you really want to get into this. You've got to have an interest in the subject, a big drive, because it can be boring at times. And I say, as much as I love doing it, there are moments you're walking around and you're freezing cold, or you're boiling hot in the summer, and you just think, why am I doing this? And then, you know, every now and again something happens and you think, that is why I'm doing this. Now, like I mentioned earlier with going out to places, that's why I say don't get any equipment. You know, you can use what you've got. You've got a camera on your phone, or you know, another camera. Use what you've got, but don't go and get all this equipment, because there's so many people that I know, even know personally, that have gone and bought loads of equipment, and then, like I say, 6 months down the line, they've realised the hobby's not for them. They've spent hundreds of quid on bits of equipment that is now wasted, you know. Now, they can obviously sell it on and stuff, but it's like, is it worth the hassle? Make sure you're interested and you know you're good to go before you you know, you go and buy loads of equipment. And really, it's not always needed. I think that's basically summed up everything I wanted to say in this video. I'm sure there's a couple of points I've missed, but I'm sure I'll cover those in other videos. But generally speaking, that's the advice I would have given myself 10 years ago when I started out. Only other thing I'd say is talk to people, talk to other investigators, talk to people who've seen things, experienced things. And I know it's slightly contradicting myself, because I said forget everything you think you know. Certainly to the base point, but there's no reason you can't talk and discuss and try and understand new ways of looking at things, learn new things. And I think that's the only other thing I say really, is talk to people, head out with other groups, just to see how they do things. You know, they may have a stance on something that you've never seen or even considered before. So yeah, certainly, yeah, talk to people is the big pointer. That's all for this video. It's something slightly different. I don't usually sit down and talk to the camera, but I thought, seeing it's a question I've been asked since I first started doing this. It's like, wow, how did you get into that? And then I have to explain. So I thought I'd put it on a video for anyone else that, you know, is interested in it or wants to get into investigating. Feel free to ask me any other questions. If I get a lot of questions about the same thing, I'll probably make a video on it. Until next time, see you later.